Well, hey everyone, time for Geocache talk. And if I'd been quiet, we could have started a minute ago. I was too busy yakking. Uh, whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, Spotify. Uh, I know Spotify is doing some changes for the better for us as podcasters. So, if you use Spotify for music, you can use Spotify for podcasts too. So check that out, or however you want to consume the show and listen to us and get all the weekly Geocache talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music, and I know they're getting ready. He is getting ready to go over to England and to the Geo Coin Fest in a few months, but I know he's excited about that. I just saw a note from him, but we really thank him for the music that we have at the beginning of our audio and all of our featured patrons: Korsgat, Geocaching with Lampe, Dave and Karen of Cache Canada, Team Tailwagger, Black Chrome, Super Nate, The Twonky, Burnt Turtles, Padib, Gazelli, Dragon, and our new patrons, Chihuahua Jill, still a great geocaching name, Chihuahua Jill, Cam Majestic 2011, R&M Cachers, Cal Running, DE Crypto Man, Julie D. Julie was funny. She's like, mine's kind of boring. I thought, no, it's great. It rhymes. Julie D. It's a great name. Lost Boy Rambler, Houston, Texas Dave, and I'm going to mess the person's name up because they haven't sent me their geocaching name yet. Jesse Torcola. Yeah, I as Jesse knows, I'll butcher a person's first name or last name. As
but you know what? You're good at it.
Drop them.
You're good at butchering them, so it's okay.
I have Jesse, Juicy. You're gonna have to help me out on that one eventually. The person's in Finland. How about that one, huh?
We're probably nowhere close then.
I'm nowhere close. I'm nowhere close. But anyway, thank you all for all our new patrons. We had a bunch this week. It was great. If you'd like to become a patron, head over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coins. Jesse's got one, maybe somewhere around. I don't know. I've got one right here.
It's in my car. We were out playing again today.
That's right. There you go.
Speaking of, I haven't even logged that cache yet. I need to do that.
Oh yeah. Don't forget to do not forget. That's definitely for a good show to.
I think I'm like a dozen behind on logs.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
We'll talk about that here in a minute as well too. I got a question for you, but patrons get blackout coins, other geocaching items. We're working on that. We've got something. I got something sitting right here, and I can't show it to anybody.
Oh, I know.
So I've got it right. I can't get it on camera. Right. I can't.
I'll do it. I know you want to.
I know I do. I want to so bad, but I've got an item that's going to be coming out, and of course, patrons get one if you're at a certain level. So we're excited about that item.
It's an experimental item too. It's something different. Something very different.
Very different. I've never seen one. I've never heard of anybody ever having one like this.
I'm surprised we didn't spill the beans before the show to Marcellus already. So
I know they're trackable. People love the trackable stuff. That's always cool. But
move on before you do spill the beans.
Not say anything more. Invites to special events only for patrons, and we do have a patron dinner that we've got scheduled. So we're excited about that. Support level start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. And so let's get this thing rolling. Let me welcome my co-host Jesse.
Good evening. I'm looking forward to this tonight. We got some fun, even news before we even get to the show, and
we do
good show too. We have a unicorn tonight, so the mythical unicorn.
We do,
or essentially, basically.
Yeah. Let's jump right into that show. Show number 137 for February 24th as we welcome Marcellus Cadd. Welcome to Geocache Talk.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Marcellus and I did a 5-minute test that turned into 45 minutes. Didn't it? It was 45 minutes, I think.
I've been told before that I can be a little chatty.
Chatty, yes. We got rolling, and it was like, I'm sorry, dude. We went quite long. I think you're okay. I hope you're okay with that. He's like, yeah, no problem at all. So, all right. Well, we're gonna do some news. So, Marcellus, definitely jump in if you want to. Any comments on the news? We're gonna do just a little, and then we'll jump into the actual topics. But
Okay.
couple items. I don't know if anybody saw this. It came out on geocaching.com. They're going to do a thing. They did a little tease of coming soon, and then they just sort of spilled the beans. So I don't know what happened there, but they didn't leave the coming soon.
They didn't leave it like a mystery very long.
No, they didn't. Celebrate geocaching creativity and diversity around the world. Join Cache Carnival, and earn up to 5 souvenirs inspired by historic carnival locations beginning March 25th of this year, 2019. Collect points on your leaderboard. And I put in parentheses previously the Friend League. I think the Friend League is dead, by the way.
I think it's still the Friend League.
You have no friends.
You have no friends, exactly. Well, I think they renamed it. I think it's just the leaderboard now, but we'll have to get an official note when we have we'll have a geocaching.
It should be the leaderboard and not the Friend League, because Friends is already Friends on Geocaching. They need to separate those two things anyway.
They do. They should.
We have like if you've been around the game for a while and you've just always said yes to that, every time you get one of those, you have like 1,000 people. Half of them you don't even know. So that's no fun being a leaderboard with people you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, besides, you feel bad, like, crushing your friends beneath your sandaled feet.
There you go.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
We haven't known each other long. You don't know me that well yet.
Yeah, for Jesse, that's not a problem.
You don't like losing, do better. So
you call it destruction. I call it Tuesday.
That's right. There you go.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be a wild show tonight. To virtually visit celebrations around the world before Cache Carnival ends on April 14th. So somehow they're going to be a leaderboard, and we've got, I think even I saw in there that you'll get points if people find your caches, which, oh my gosh, celebrate a cache maker. I mean, who'd have thought that would have been possible?
We'll have to get more detailed with this one pretty soon.
Yeah.
Do a short version on that one.
Yeah, we do. We'll get some more info, and we'll figure some of that stuff out. So, all right. So, wanted to put that out there because that came out. Virtual. I didn't put it in the notes, but the virtual.
Oh yeah.
Well,
so I just have a question. We don't want to get into it tonight because this will get us off on a different topic. But yeah. I've been finding a bunch of caches recently, or not finding a bunch of caches recently, and they all happen to be by people that are not in the game anymore. So I'm really kind of curious, and before we dig into this, kind of 2 questions. One, I want to see the percentage of caches out there that people think are by, I don't want to say dead because that sounds horrible, dead accounts. So cache hunters are not, you go there and the person hasn't even been there in a year. So I'm really curious what people think about that. I'd love to see the emails on that. But then I'd also love to see if somebody actually has a way to figure out how to determine that. Like how many caches in an area are by cachers that have not even logged in a year. There's got to be some kind of weird GSAC thing or something, some code somebody can write. But it seems like half of the caches I've gone to lately have been, I think Facebook was calling it the virtual graveyard for a while or something. I don't know what, half the account are dead or something. Those are not official statistics, of course. But I'd be curious to know how many caches out there are owned by people that have not logged in for a year. I have no idea how to figure that out, but we have a lot of smart people in the audience, and I'd love, so send us an email if you have any clue on how to figure that out, because I want to investigate that. So geocachetalk@gmail.com, and then we'll talk about that later. But if anybody can, never mind, it's 42.76%. Burnt turtles already put it in there. So
turtles it. Okay,
we're done with that topic.
Good.
If anybody can figure out how to do that, I'd love to hear it, or how we could start
42.
investigating that.
Yeah, he put the 42.
I mean,
in
42
there.
is always the answer, but he's got 0.76, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll figure that out.
Well, the 76 that makes all the difference.
Right. Specificity, of course, over accuracy.
over accurate.
But
No,
I just it's been a weird thing lately. I found several recently, and it's a typical thing. Like it's supposed to be a medium, and somebody's replaced it with a pill bottle, and the owner is not going to fix that because they haven't logged in.
They don't know.
It's just kind of annoying, and we'll see. Well, I don't know. I'm curious. I'd love to hear from people on how we could figure that out, or if anybody even cares about that, or if it's
I like it.
Same other places. So,
no, that's good. Now it's kind of out of order. What I was thinking was when I said virtual, and it triggered your question, but what I was thinking was lab. The lab caches. So we have some new owners of lab caches, and they put out the word this week, I guess. We did not get one. We don't understand that. I mean, we have no love for us. So.
Did anybody in the chat room get one? That'd be a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I haven't seen anybody say it yet, but
how does somebody even get a lab cache?
You had to qualify.
New experimental thing. They sent out an email, and you had to have.
There was a
couple of qualifications, but then they were going to put out like 500 worldwide, and you get an experimental short-term lab cache that they're trying to let out for people.
Okay.
Yeah. One of our MCC group, and I've got some feedback. If somebody could turn their volume down just a touch on your end, one of the two of y'all could just briefly. Thank you. I think you got it. I can't hear myself anymore. That's perfect. Well, I can hear myself, but not
twice. It was
twice.
probably me.
That's fine. Appreciate you, buddy. No, I can still hear a little bit. That's okay. Jesse, you might want. Maybe
I just turned mine down, so I don't know what it is.
All right, good. That's good. Okay. I'll fight through it. So they
only 250 is what Ryan's saying. So that may be even not 500.
500. What was that for?
The labs.
Oh, I think it was 400, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway,
well, there's three guesses. So one of us may be right.
There's three guesses. Yeah. So one of our MCC folks got one. So they said that they were told that they had to place the lab cache at some whatever point they're going to give, but that they had to keep it active for 6 months. So I told him, I said, well, or what? Yeah. What are you going to do? You're gonna bow up to geocaching.com, huh? Is that
That's right.
Happen?
They're gonna send their heavy hitters to go do something about it.
That's right.
That's right.
They'll deactivate your account.
They'll come after you. So anyway, so I think the point was they don't want people to just do one and then get rid of it. They want, but maybe it'll survive. I mean, if people do really cool lab caches in a lab cache, you'll do some lab caches. Marcellus, you and I will both do some here shortly when we're down in Seguin. Have you ever done a lab cache before?
No, I haven't. I've wanted to. I've been planning to. I think there's is it Baytown where there's one?
Yep. You're correct, sir.
And I've been wanting to do that because I've made plans to go out to Houston. I figure if I'm going to be in Houston, I might as well go out to Baytown and do that. But no, I've never done one before.
Yeah. Baytown has a geo tour. And some of the geo tours they gave, they were allowed to put out some of the lab caches for the geo tours, and so that's why they have some. But also megas, gigas, those kind of events.
Okay,
or GPS mazes.
GPS Maze is going to have some up and
I totally want to go to Fort Worth and do it.
You got to come, buddy.
Do not miss that. You will regret it, like I have for the last.
Oh my gosh,
years.
Yes. It's so rare. That's such a rare icon, and so, but yeah, God, we're gonna get so much to talk about. Okay. Anyway, so lab caches. Looking forward to that. All right. Next topic. Cachely 5.0 just came out. Cachely 5.0 is, if you're an iOS like Jesse and I, iOS cache user who does not use any GPSR, and I haven't used one in so many years. I don't even know.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
I don't ride a horse to work either, so
exactly. But it just came out. It's so cool. It's the new one, and now I don't know if you saw this. Did you go take a look at this or not, Jesse? But if you go look at here's what I found recently. No, not recently. This one I found a while back, but you can now go in and you can go to the logs and I can show this. Yeah, you can now log whether you thought like these are really bad logs.
Oh, yes.
So I would never click on a link for those people, but because they wrote nothing. They wrote found. That's not a great story, and that was not helpful. So they are not going to get a click. But if there's a great story in there somewhere, like here's a great story. Whoever this person is, Little Joe, greetings. Today is my very special Geo day for me. I will fill in my grid of finds per calendar day. Woohoo. No longer will it say you found caches on 365 of 366 days of the year. And he goes on, and whoever this person is went on. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on great story.
I like it.
Great story, bro.
Great story, bro. And that's why I clicked on it. See, I said great story. So I clicked on it. They now have a 1 on that one. I don't know how they're going to be notified that I clicked on that, but
I think it's an email, maybe.
Hopefully they'll get an email saying that it was a great story. So anyway, so that's new. You can only get it if you've got Cachely. So there you go. So tomorrow you need to throw your Android phone in the trash. Well, don't throw it in the trash. Wait for your Apple iPhone to come in the mail, and then you can throw away your Android into the trash after that. So
right.
Oh
no, people they started off talking about 5.0 in the chat room.
Yeah, that is awesome. Apparently, CGO has a new update from. I know this is weird, but I cached with some people who do not use. They use an Android. That's okay. You know, we live in a world, Marcellus, where we need to all get along. Is that right?
Ebony and ivory live together. Okay, I'm done.
That's pretty good, buddy. I like it. That's good.
It's all that karaoke. All the karaoke.
All the karaoke. But that's good stuff. So Cachely 5.0 came out. Please, if you're an iOS user, I mean, if you're a cache or if you're an Android user, I can understand. But if you're an iOS user, you're not using Cachely. Now I don't understand why
well, and what I want to play with that I haven't yet.
Yep.
On there is the lonely caches.
Yes.
I hadn't even got a chance to get in there and really play with it yet. So
yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
So if they're like, and I know Marcellus has found some of these well, you probably found some of these, Marcellus, where they're, as we'll talk about some of you on your cache streak and some of your getting out to some of these dusty trail
out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm looking at you, Paint Rock, Texas.
Paint Rock, I love it.
I mean, seriously, who has a blacksmith on their town square? This is 2019. You have a blacksmith on your town square. Seriously?
Like it, right? Hey, you might have seen some horses running around out there. It's still the Wild West, right?
I would not have been surprised remotely.
Right. But
we're getting distracted already because I'm playing with Cachely, and I see some caches that I want to go for that have not been found in over a year.
Yeah, because what they'll do, Marcellus, is on the app, it'll change the icon to it'll have a different look to it. And so when you look at it, yep.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me if I can zoom in further on that. Probably not gonna be able to see it though.
Yeah, we can see it.
Audio listeners are definitely not gonna be able to see it, but it's got a little clock.
Okay.
Yeah, you could describe it.
Got a little clock right in the middle of the pin. So that means for my settings, it hasn't been found in more than a year.
Yes, that is correct.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of neat. Something different.
Which is neat. Lonely caches, right?
Yeah. All right, last item for the news. We get the topics for tonight. We got cool gifts. We love when we get gifts.
Yeah.
So I got a note. It's from Lisa, Carl, and Lena from the caching family. Float Your Goat, which is one of our another favorite. There it is. He's showing. Yeah, that is awesome.
How cool is that?
Isn't that cool looking? It's our logo.
And then
was that perler beads?
Yes, perler beads. There's the ammo can.
Ammo can. And then the geocaching symbol. Colors.
Yep.
Very cool.
And totally unsolicited, handmade gifts. That's very cool. My wife and kids were all very excited to see those. Yep. That's just very nice of somebody.
See if I can get it.
It is.
Somebody spent their time and effort to do that. Totally unsolicited. They, they're just being nice, and they did it.
Isn't that cool? I can almost.
That's very cool. I was very shocked to see that. Yeah. Gary didn't tell me anything. Totally surprised.
That's so awesome. Yeah, perler beads. I know that we got some big fans of perler beads out there, and they're cool. These are little tiny. These are the little tiny perler beads. So very cool. Isn't that cool?
That's incredibly cool.
So thank you for the note. Now, this is bizarre. Not bizarre. We won't get into it tonight because we don't really have time. But Jesse got his in the mail, and he's like, "Hey, did you get yours, Gary?" I'm like, "No." So they mailed it February 2nd from Oklahoma. Okay, which isn't far away. In fact, it's just one state up. In fact, I'm not that far from Oklahoma, being in the northeast part of Texas.
Yeah.
And I got it yesterday or the day before, February 22nd, I guess. So it took it 20 days to get from Oklahoma.
I do believe there is a natural bias between Oklahomans and Texans.
I think there is. So apparently you had to go through some serious customs.
They have to send you your mail, but they don't have to like it.
Right. Well, apparently they didn't like it because it took them a while to release it from the postal jail.
Maybe it's suspicious in the scan. Who knows?
I don't know. Well, it was open.
So well, it's going to Texas, so it must be suspicious.
Suspicious. Right.
Especially up north of those like that Dallas area with those oil money snobs. And
That's right.
Yeah, I'd love to blame it on the government shutdown, but that's really independent. So
that was completely different.
Yeah, so. I was wanting to find a way to blame it on the government shutdown, but the postal service actually wasn't affected by that. So
no. Oh well. So thank you, Float Your Goat. We really appreciate that.
Very cool. Thank you so much. That's a special, nice thing to do.
Yep. Really meant a lot to us. So again, thank you so much. All right.
We should probably get the show started though.
Let's get the show going.
Show? What show? I thought we were just gonna hang around and like babble about stuff for like.
We are. Well, that's
totally cool about that.
That's pretty much our business plan.
That's our show, Marcellus. That's it.
Awesome.
Don't tell anybody though.
Yeah, it's our secret. Don't tell anybody. So Stacy Weaver contacted us and suggested to contact you, Marcellus. And I was like, cool. Tell me more. And so she's like, well, he has a blog, and his blog is Geocaching While Black. And I go, I want to hear more because this is going to be interesting. And so I want to read a little bit here, Marcellus, if I may.
Oh, be my guest,
sir. This is from your blog. I love the blog. Now you're
going to make me blush.
Okay, good. I'm glad because
that only works for the people watching the video, not the audio. So it's okay.
Oh,
right. And here you wrote, it's not lost on me that I, a black man, have taken on a hobby that could lead me into trouble. We're going to talk about some of those tonight too. While I offer my thanks to Pokemon Go for making a black dude wandering around looking at a cell phone far less suspicious. In the 2 months I've been doing this is obviously your blog from a while back. I've been stopped by cops, security guards, more times than I could care to count. Well, all right, 7, if you must know at the time, it was 7. while other cachers in the forums have noted that rarely or never been stopped in years. Add to it the fact that geocaching is, at least in the West, a predominantly white pastime for several reasons. A fact backed up by a quick search for images of geocachers on Google or photos of geocaching events. But I don't honestly believe it's the cachers themselves. I recently attended my first local gathering of geocachers, and I want to get into that comment here in a moment.
Sure.
So I found that interesting, and I think this is something Jesse and I deliberately avoid politics, religion, so forth, so on, because we want to talk about geocaching. But this is related very much, and this is a topic I've wanted was hoping to discuss someday. And I'm so glad that were available to do this and available or willing to discuss this some. And that you were a good man to be doing this as well. So,
I'm just this guy, you know.
Yeah, but it's interesting. So let me ask you: you've been doing this now. June, I think June will be a year. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe June 16th.
Okay, and you've had all kinds of interesting. We're gonna get into the stories of your different encounters, but let's back up. So, how have you, or what is your? Obviously, you're still geocaching, and you still love it. Would you say that you really love it more now? I mean, are you really are you like us? Are you starting to become obsessed with this world of geocaching?
I think starting is the wrong word because it's like I've even said it to I was talking to a friend of mine about this. I realized that for the last 9 months, I have had one primary subject on my brain. It is awesome. What I'm not going to say I, eat, sleep, and dream it, but I'm not, probably about 70% of the conversations about what I'm doing or, what sort of thing or whatever, I'm in my head thinking about how that leads back to what I've been doing geocaching. So, obsession may not be the wrong word.
Right.
I'm not going to make a qualitative assessment quite like that yet.
Okay.
But it's getting there, know.
Right.
I'm looking at the receipts. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm putting my money toward this, and that's you vote with your dollars. So yeah, no,
right.
I think I'm getting close to obsessed. That's a good
There's a lot worse hobbies to have.
There is.
No, totally. And that's some people spend their lives enjoying something and it never takes them anywhere. It never gives them anything, necessarily has them doing anything special. And that's okay if they're happy with that. Right. But the last 9 months I've been doing this, I have enjoyed immensely.
Oh, great. That's
and
good.
So I'm already thinking about the future. And cool. I don't even know the funny thing is, I don't even know what I'm going to do after the Texas County Challenge. But that being said, maybe I might start on other states.
Maybe.
I haven't.
You got a lot of counties to go.
I've got a few. I've got 3 or 4, 5 or 6. Okay, I got a couple more than that.
Yes, my friend.
Let's call it 20.
Yeah, more.
No, I'm
there. You go.
Yeah,
I think I have 188 left now. I think
that's not bad though. That's pretty good. You've done because, as you know, in our lovely state, we have 254
counties. That number is tattooed to my brain.
So one day you'll be able to stand up as us. We haven't even done it yet either, but Susan and I and yourself will be able to go to the finishers reunion, wherever it happens to be that year, and we get to wear our shirts proudly and say, yes, we went to all 254 counties, and
I'll be there to join you one day.
Yeah, you will.
Heck yeah.
Not anytime soon, but
but there are some people that have done it from the outside, but we don't have a lot of people who haven't. But anyway, all right.
From Colorado to get down there, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yep. All right, we'll get into the cache streaks and some of that here in a moment, but let's kind of back up a moment. So, you were you went to a geocaching event.
Yeah.
And this is one of the many things we want. And this is this little section we want to talk about. And I can't believe somebody said this to you, but they said something to the effect that you were a little more tanner than the rest of the ones at the geocaching event. Well,
actually, and the funny thing is, was actually kind of uplifting to me in a weird sort of way, because at first, when I was talking to him, he was like, yeah, it's my first event. I'm feeling a little weird about it. He's like, and he's like, and he's just flat out, well, I hope it's not because you're a little tanner than the rest of us. And at first, my first immediate reaction, like I said, first reaction is what you're taught. It's like, wait, what? And then my second reaction is like, well, wait a minute. No, this is actually, the fact that he said that, strangely enough, is actually kind of awesome, because it points out that there is a thing. It points out that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And more importantly, that I'm welcome no matter what.
Yes.
And that was one of my, it wasn't necessarily a huge concern, because I didn't think that, I wouldn't be welcome, but it really took that, a little bit of that anxiety off of my mind.
Right. In a weird way. He kind of, I mean, I don't know. Again, we don't know what's in his brain or what he's been taught, but
oh, no. I was going to say, he is a really nice guy. Oh, and so I realized, I totally realized that wasn't like, oh, you're not like us. I was like, well, yeah, it's obvious that you're not, but we don't really care.
Right.
And I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with that.
But it's probably kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off, right? Like, you didn't have to, like, okay, how many events am I going to have to go to where somebody's going to...
Yeah. It's like, I did. Yeah. And I did not see that coming.
So,
but I'm glad it did.
With that event. So that event kind of put you, at ease maybe a little bit once you, got over that. But
totally.
Have you still been the only black geocacher you've been to at all these events?
Oh, yeah. In fact, thus far, I have never met a black geocacher.
Right.
The only place that I have ever encountered a black geocacher is on Reddit.
Right.
Because I mentioned something, and one other Redditor mentioned that he was black and a geocacher. And that is literally the only other black geocacher I have ever run into in any way. Right. I have no earthly idea where he is. I will probably never meet him, but there's literally tens of us.
Well, what's funny about that is obviously it's a overwhelmingly white hobby, right? A white dude hobby, because a lot of things are they're
in the U.S.
Yeah, totally.
But this is one of the things that hasn't. Now I live in a different area, so y'all live in Texas. Both of y'all do, right?
Indeed.
Texas is slightly different than Colorado. And
no, I think they're completely and totally the same.
Right.
No different.
I did notice Texas and Colorado are a little bit different. There are black geocachers up here. And obviously it's like one in a bunch, right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch. But even up here in northern Colorado, which is a smaller area, and then down in Denver, there's more, there's more diversity and stuff too. But it was obvious from the beginning that it's overwhelmingly a white old dude sport. But but there is more diversity here, I guess, than there would be maybe in Texas or maybe in other areas that are not,
right
outside of the coast and in the South maybe or whatever. But it seems like to me that you would probably be more apt to find people that are open-minded, that have traveled a lot, and maybe a little more accepting than some other hobbies that are out there.
No, totally.
I mean, we could name certain ones, but we're not going to pick on certain hobbies right now. There's no need for that.
No need for that. I know. Yeah. No, but that's that's a good point. I mean, that's it kind of is for us what it is. But there's no parts of the world. It'd be interesting to find out. I mean,
I get the feeling there's probably a lot more black cachers in, say, England.
Right.
And I would love to, I would, or maybe even like, South America.
Sure. Jamaica, Africa. There's parts of the world where, it's quite possible. But
somebody's mentioning in the chat room, Peoria Bill, who is a black cacher, and he's actually a charter member. So he's one of the first few. I don't even know the true definition of charter member. I know I'm not one, but I know it's like one of the beginning, people or whatever.
Yeah, but, they cut it off pretty quickly. There was a charter members, and that's a good question. We need to ask one of our geocaching.com.
I think they have like a Masonic ring or something.
Friends, right?
Secrets of the game or something.
If I don't get a decoder ring, I don't want it.
Decoder ring, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there aren't many that are in the charter member group.
No.
But yeah, that's interesting. So, but
joined in the first year of geocaching is what that means.
Joined the first year. So yeah, 2000. So, but it's interesting because in preparation for the show, I kind of was going back through and thinking about my own life and thinking about some different things, and I found something interesting. And I went back actually. I went back and watched the "I Have a Dream" speech, Martin Luther King, and I'm a big history buff, and so it's fascinating. It got me off of rabbit trails. This is something I'm sure y'all, because both y'all read, and you can kind of get on rabbit trails reading stuff. But he talked about some different history, but he mentioned something in his speech that has stuck with me. Actually, kept around, and it just reinforced it. When I heard it again, it was like, oh, that's that is from that. I mean, I know it was from the Have a Dream speech, but and the quote is, it says, "I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And so I thought that was amazing. And you were talking about, Marcellus, how we were sort of taught and grow up and everything. And so, I was taught from the very, I was never not taught to embrace that idea that we are not to judge others. We're not to be judged by any of that, it's only by the content of someone's character. And so I thought that was really, really good. And so
the other thing is judgment in and of itself. I mean, I don't get upset with someone who judges, because human beings are wired to judge things. That's what true. We do, and so we notice that that person is not part of our group. He's from another town. Or, that person is, strangely attired because they don't, meet our social norms. And it's an evolutionary tool, and it's really important as an evolutionary tool, because you got to be able to make snap decisions real quick.
Sure.
So I don't get upset with someone who judges. But like I said before, the first reaction is what you've been taught. Yes. The second reaction is who you really are.
You're who you really are. I like that. I like when you mentioned
somebody in the chat room. Cash Line said he was at the same time as you were saying that. He said it's what you do with the judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's almost exactly what you're saying. It is. Everybody's going to have a different opinion, and it's funny you mentioned it. I have a different background. I'm in Colorado now, which is a very diverse area, and open. There's no area that's non-judgy, right? It's just judging different type of people.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's judging somebody. Every area judges somebody, right? But
who I judge? I judge the Irish.
There you go. Hey now, easy.
Hey now.
I'm from Memphis, which obviously has a bad connection to Martin Luther King. You know, in history, if you're a history buff, you know what happened there.
Yep. It is. Yeah, it's a thing.
Also, good things happen there too, but also, you know, and happened there. But it was a very racially charged area, and so I've grown up in two different areas, Memphis and out here, and you know, I was lucky enough to grow up in a good family that was open about things and talked about things and pointed out what's right and wrong, and we came from a mixed area, so in construction and stuff like that, you're kind of all thrown in together, right? So that was helpful, but it was all around, right? And it's very different depending on where you are in the country. Colorado and Memphis are two different places, so it's you know it is what it is, right?
It is.
So, kind of with that being said, you've had some interesting things that have happened. So let's. I want to ask you, because we talked when we said we had our little 45-minute, our 5/45-minute test we did. Tell us about, and then I want to get into the geocaching here in a minute, because we want to get past this. But there was a dude in a white shirt he told me about, asking you, because you were looking, as we would have done the exact same thing, Marcellus. You're checking out an air conditioner that's supposed to have a cache on it.
It turned out that it was the steps next to the air conditioner.
Right.
And that's fine. But Dateline, Cameron, Texas, a little nano on a set of iron stairs. I'm like, right by an air conditioning unit, like looking around the air conditioner, finally said, oh, it's on the stairs. Okay, get the thing, sign the thing, put the thing back, go off to my car. Let's, head on up. Yeah. And while I was like, logging in on my phone, I hear a little tap on the window, and there's this guy with linen shirt. Not law enforcement, just this guy,
dude, right?
White linen shirt. He's got shorts, and he's just like, hey, is there a problem with the air conditioner? I'm like, well, no, not particularly. It's like, oh, because I saw you searching over there and looking around, and I thought maybe there might be an issue. And I'm looking this guy up and down, and it's like, well, he's not wearing anything that's remotely connected to the business,
right?
Right. And I don't see any reason for him to be there. He's not parked in front of there like he's even going there. He's just there. And and I thought about it for a moment, and I always think, do I want to say something and just kind of whatever, and kind of make something up and get out of there, or do I tell him what I'm doing? And then I realized, wait a minute, I live in Texas, so of course I look him up and down to make sure that he's not packing a gun.
Right, exactly, because that's Texas.
Because that is not a black thing. That is a Texas thing. You never freaking know.
Right, exactly right.
Everything he's wearing is light enough that I can tell, no, this guy isn't packing. It's like, I'm in a different town. I don't want to cause any trouble. I'm just gonna, I just give him the quick, it's like, have you ever heard of geocaching? They're like, oh, no, I've never heard of anything like that. And so I give him the rundown. He's like, oh, you get any money out of that? Or you find any treasure stuff or whatever? It's like, no, I just do it for the joy of it. It's like, doesn't have to have money involved to be fun.
Right.
And then after I've explained it to his obvious satisfaction, everything's okay. And he goes on back to his truck and it's like, okay, this was going to be my last cache of the day anyway. Let's go on and head back home.
Oh my.
What is your standard when people come up, hey, what are you doing? Everybody has a different version of that. What do you say?
Usually when they just, when they ask what I'm doing, sometimes it depends. Because, there are some people who I can just kind of, pass it off or even, tell a fib, because I don't really want to drop in, like, drop anything weird on a muggle and, something like that. It's like, oh yeah, just, drop something over here. And I thought it might be over here, so and so and so forth. And then sometimes you just kind of get a feeling that, no, that's not going to work in this case. You could just kind of tell. And so in cases like that, I just go ahead and give them like the 3-cent basic spiel of, this is what geocaching is. And of course, whenever there are cops involved in this, or whenever security guards or whatever, I don't bother hiding it at all. It's like, because half the time cops have heard of it, and so
that's true.
It's like, all right, get this over with, because, while random Joe Blow can't, detain me or force me to do anything, this guy kind of can. He's got authority, so I'm not going to fiddle with that.
Yeah.
What about you, Gary? Do you have a standard one now? I know mine's evolved over the years.
Yeah, I quickly snapped to explaining what geocaching is. I mean, I don't really. Although yesterday was interesting. We had our Motley Caching crew. Our event we do 2 or 3 times a year, and so we were out, and I guess maybe I'm getting older and getting a little more crotchety. Is that
no, not you?
That official scientific term? I didn't do it, but we had a car.
I prefer the more technical term, curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon, thank you. How dare you, sir? No. So we had somebody who we were in the public in the. Again, I shouldn't get upset about this kind of thing, but 6 white guys who are inspecting a cedar tree might look odd. I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't have this problem.
Nothing possibly illegal with that, other than trespassing, right? I mean, nothing possibly dangerous or illegal.
No, and we were in the public, and this is something maybe for another show. Take a drink is what we usually do at this point, but we're on the edge of this very posh, very upscale subdivision. And apparently maybe we stepped on the trail of this person's area, even though their house is it's not a gated community, or maybe they're in a gated community, but we're in the public. I mean, I crossed no fence to get to this cedar tree, but they took it on themselves. This is the thing I think that really bothers me more. If it's law enforcement, to me, it's like, I don't, and you guys can talk, you can comment on this as well when I'm done doing my little rant here. But if it's law enforcement, I kind of think that they need to check it out. When it's some random dude who's stopping because he takes it upon himself to determine what I should and shouldn't be doing, that's when it kind of bothers me a little bit. We had 2 kind of run-ins. One was with the mayor of Fairfield, which was a great time, which was interesting. He's a black mayor. I think he's still a black mayor. We joked about that earlier. It's like, yeah, I think he.
How many people have been stopped by the mayor? That's not very. That's got to be more uncommon than anything, right?
The mayor of Fairfield stopped us and asked us, very nice gentleman, and asked us what we were doing around this monument. It was a veterans monument, and so we had a great conversation with him about geocaching. He goes, "This sounds really cool." In fact, I probably need to send him a note and say, hey, if if the city of Fairfield wants to get involved, I could get you guys. We gave him we talked to him for quite a while, explained to him about geocaching. He was very interested, very nice gentleman. But this other person just kept kind of followed it. They could have got out. They could have pulled up and said, "Hey, is there something I could do to help?" Didn't do that. Instead, they decided to troll and park, a little bit down the street, not that far from us, but they parked and were watching us. And it's like, my first thought was, I'm going to walk over there and say, "Hi, you seem out of place here. Is there something I can do to help you? Is there something you need?" Because, again, I think we get kind of defensive as geocachers because you know, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I've never heard of geocaching, so it must not be very important or very cool because I've never heard of it. It's like, well, you know what? That maybe that speaks more to you than it does to me. But, I we didn't say anything. We had one group, we had one car go over to him and I think tell him what we were doing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older and I'm getting kind of where I think people by now should have heard of it. It's been out there for almost 20 years. I mean, I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
If I had $1 for every person who had never heard of geocaching,
we'd be rich, you and I.
I would be rich, and I would be traveling from place to place, not telling anybody about what I'm doing.
That's true.
Like remotely, completely.
I will say that I think the mayor has more right than anybody to ask you what's going on in his town.
Absolutely.
I'm going to throw that one out there because I've never heard that one before. The mayor has the right to ask you whatever he wants to, just in my opinion. But
yeah,
he does have a vested interest in everywhere in the town.
I was
nice about it, right? But
if Mayor Adler stops me and starts asking about what I'm doing, I will tell him everything about geocaching that I know, and then point him to some people who know more than me.
Well, yeah, I rarely mention geocaching when I'm asked.
You don't really
tell them scavenger hunt. Most of the time, they're like, "Oh, that's boring. I don't want to hear about it," and they walk off before I could even explain if I wanted to. Now, if they stay around and go, "Oh, really? This is my area. I don't know much about that," then I'll launch into geocaching and tell them what that is. But almost always, scavenger hunt is enough for them to go, "Oh, okay." They just assume it's some church-related scavenger hunt or school-related scavenger hunt, and don't ask many questions past that.
Scavenger hunt is always in the second sentence.
Yeah,
because nobody understands. Because I know if I start talking about GPSs and size things and blah 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 blah, and I can just watch their eyes glaze over.
Yeah, I start with scavenger hunt, and rarely ever do they ask further questions because most people are like, "Oh, I don't want to know." They're afraid you're going to sell them something after that point. So.
I guess, yeah. No, so
you're exactly what I was scavenger hunting for. Would you like to buy a magazine subscription?
Right.
Exactly.
That's good.
Scavenger hunting monthly.
Yes,
it's for you.
It's for you. You really want to subscribe.
I'm selling FTF magazine. Would you like a subscription?
That we do sell.
I might have to actually try that one.
Yeah, really. All right. So for me yesterday we had one really good encounter and one not so good. And I guess Marcellus, you've kind of had a little bit of each, I guess, too.
Mostly,
mostly people being nosy.
Yeah, mostly. Usually when people are being nosy, they're being kind of nice nosy.
Right.
But it's like a reasonable percentage where it's like, yeah, this isn't curiosity This isn't curiosity about what I'm doing. This is curiosity about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's
it is what it is.
It is what it is, unfortunately. So I'm hoping, my hope is that we as a country and a society will get to a point where I might stop Marcellus if I'm not a muggle. I mean, if I'm a muggle, I'm stopping him more, not for who he might look like, but more the fact that he's doing something really bizarre and ask him out of curiosity.
Sir, you're looking really mean over there.
Why are you on top of this tree? And is there something in the tree that I can help with? Because I don't know, but Memphis, he will go up a tree at a whim.
No, I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. No, here's the thing. I do not go up trees. I have daughters for that.
Yeah. I've sent my daughters up also. They'll go up trees.
One of them is a master climber.
I'll go up there, but
there you go.
Like you can hold a 200+ pound person. I won't go up there.
Oh yeah, one of them is a master climber. It's like
perfect.
Hey Zoe, go ahead and you go up this tree. It's like I can't get up to this part. Okay, I will boost you up. Thanks, Dad.
They're the best tool of the trade. There's no doubt about it.
I know.
Yes. Yeah. Marcellus and Jesse, I'll both have 2 daughters, and so And so,
and really, that's the impetus for us getting into caching was the daughters, right? So, and being in a new place and finding a way to meet new people in a new place that doesn't involve a bar, or getting to know the community in the area. So,
So how? Because we've heard this from different folks, but Jesse's daughters, for the most part, are very pro geocaching. I don't know if is Hallie kind of at a point now where she's kind of like over it, not being 19 and.
Yeah, so my oldest is getting ready to go off to college, and she's older. She's been through the whole geocaching. If it's not something, and obviously she's my kid, but if it's not something extreme, like she's not going to just go pick up an LPC. She doesn't care about that. She's done that. She's been with us for a major portion of the 7,000 plus caches we found, right? Travel, she's down with. But like she's not going in town. But if I go, hey, I need you to climb a tree or a bridge over a train tracks or something like that, she'll take care of it for me. She'll be like, "No, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll go do that." But if it's just like, "Hey, let's go to the park and find a couple," she's seen them already. So,
but now Marcellus's daughters are much younger,
indeed.
And so, what are their reactions or responses so far? What do your daughters currently think of geocaching?
Oh, well, first of all, they already know that I'm somewhat obsessed with it, because whenever I talk about anything having to do with oh yeah, I did this thing, a couple days ago. It's like, did it involve geocaching? Well, yes, it did.
Yes, it did. What do you?
They like it. They enjoy it. They're still at the stage where they like, finding a little cache under a lamppost or stuff like that. In fact, I often, get help from them, because here's the thing. I cannot for the life of me spot a micro in a tree.
Right.
It is so freaking hard.
I'm the same way sometimes.
That's ours too.
And yet they just like,
There
boom,
it is, Dad.
I'm there, Now, so whenever I'm looking for a micro in a tree, they are such great help. And whenever I go on, adventures for something like really kind of interesting,
right,
they're usually down. And sometimes I've accidentally led them in a couple of paths that I probably shouldn't have led them, but it's like, it's like if I had gone on that side of the fence, it's nice and well mowed. But if I go on this side of the fence, accidentally run into what looks like the remains of a homeless camp.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't tell their mother about this,
Yeah.
So,
it's an adventure.
Those things happen.
Exactly. And, sometimes when we're doing, longer trips, but I don't take them on like really long trips, because, I couldn't take them on a lot of the county stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because they would get bored out of their gourds sitting in a car for 11 hours, even if we're getting out every 30 minutes, getting out for 30 minutes or whatever.
Sure.
So, they dig it, but there's kind of limits. I'm guessing when they get older, they might be, down for something a little, for, more hiking and, getting out further, because they're Girl Scouts. So, they're kind of picking that stuff up. Cool. But right now they're not quite there. So,
not quite there. So on the times, this is interesting too, because you've been caching for a while now, but not that long. Like I said, we're still in the first year. But you decided to do a couple things. One, of course, is the blog. We want people to go read the blog, geocachingwhileblack.com. But you're also sort of journaling something that's interesting. We've talked about it on the show a couple times. We'll talk more about cache. The county challenges we did a show on. We'll talk more about. We just did last week. We even talked quite a bit about the county challenges of Texas, and please insert your own state, unless it's Massachusetts. And then they have an interesting thing up in Massachusetts, by the way. They have a town,
parishes or provinces, or
no, they have counties. Louisiana has parishes, but but Massachusetts has something interesting, because you could do every county in Massachusetts in one day. I mean, But
yeah, I guess so.
You could, but there's an interesting that Rhode Island. I mean, come on. But
Rhode Island is smaller than Brewster County.
Right, exactly. One of our counties down here, but they do towns. They have an actual challenge where if you do every town in Massachusetts, you could prove you do your
wow
Project GC. You could do every. They have you could go sign a log. Challenge caches, and we'll talk about challenge caches again.
Yeah.
Jesse's working. Can I mention you're working on something for that,
Yeah.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Jesse's working on a book. Another book in our library of Geocache Talk books that are available on challenge caches. But Marcellus is doing. You're doing a streak and you're doing county challenges. Well, I think it's interesting. Now I should have asked you before the show. Are you still doing the streak, or is that?
Yeah. In fact,
still alive?
Today is 200. Yeah, today was 253 days.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Wow. See, if you would have gotten a new county every day, you'd be done tomorrow.
That is true. That is true.
But it's a little hard in Texas because, as Marcellus could tell you, it could take a while to drive to a county. Like a long time to drive to a county.
Okay, I will say this. I honestly believe that if you have 3 people who are absolutely positively devoted and a vehicle that you can absolutely trust, I honestly believe that the Texas County Challenge could be done in 3 weeks. That being said, you would literally have to work in a team of 3 where somebody's driving, somebody's navigating, somebody's sleeping.
Right.
And you would have to literally drive straight through from county to county. And you would pretty much not stop.
Right.
I
Just
believe
long enough to gas
this can
be
done.
It can't be done.
I believe that anybody who accomplished it would be insane.
Yes.
Penguin level insane. It's like, the Penguin, the Joker, and Two-Face go on a road trip geocaching.
That would be a stinky car ride.
Yes. It would be a car ride of legend. And I mean legendarily bad.
Yes, that
would be horrible.
I'd rather jump in. You can do all 48 states in caching in 11 days.
Right.
I'd rather do that.
I believe it. I believe it.
There's a way to do it. We've kind of discussed trying to do that sometime.
I think it's in Geocache Talk's future, in fact. But that's for another
show. That's for another show. Jesse has. But as you talk about stinky, Jesse, and this is something you would want to do with your lovely daughters. But Jesse got in with another guy, and they y'all just took off and started geocaching, and all you did was stop to eat, sleep, and then
one solid sit down meal a day, and the rest of that was just cache until you are about to fall off the road, and you pull over to the side of the road, sleep until you wake up and go again.
Wow.
Find a little truck stop, take a little, homeless shower in the sink, and for days. That's why we rented a car for it, because I don't even say where we rented a car from, just in case there are geocachers in their company. But we destroyed it. We do those. Those trips are fun, though.
You did. All right. Let me get back to so you've kept the streak alive, which is crazy. Now you've had some wild times keeping the streak alive. So tell everybody about and this is a good point, a good tip for people who do want to try to do a streak of that magnitude. Is really not easy, because you really need to plan ahead, because you had an interesting situation happen to you. You were doing Travis County, right?
Yeah. Well, I live in Travis County, so that was
easy. Travis County. That was easy. But I'm sorry, yeah. It wasn't for your streak, but you were trying to do the oldest cache in Travis County.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, me and my Me and my daughter. Oh, wait a minute. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I like brain farted for a second.
That's okay. Now,
French.
Because that's okay. So,
oh yeah, Terrace Treasures, I think.
Yeah, and now you were trying to do that for a certain one. You were trying to do that for 600th, right?
Yeah, and also because there's another challenge here. It's actually a series of challenges. One for the oldest virtuals in Austin.
Right.
Or, sorry, well, Travis County. The oldest traditionals, the oldest multis, and the oldest mysteries.
Right.
And then there's also a bonus cache for that, if you accomplish all 4 of them. But I'd accomplished the oldest virtuals.
Right.
And luckily they say you have to get half of them, which there's no way I could get all 60 of them because, a number of them have been archived since.
Yeah. Since that challenge came out. But you didn't have a cache that day yet. Right. And you were trying to go after this one particular cache and you were like, I need to find a cache today. Hello.
Yeah. That was New Year. And in fact, that was New Year's Day.
Wow.
So for those of you who don't know, I ended up, while I was on the way to Cameron, Texas, I ended up crashing my car.
Yeah.
Well, it was about the luckiest thing that could possibly happen, believe it or not. I basically, a freak storm, popped up and I lost traction and spun out and I went butt first into a tree.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I ended up losing a family heirloom that happened to be in my trunk. But other than that, I walked away from it just fine.
Yep.
My abs hurt for a couple of days, but other than that, no real damage.
Right.
So I hadn't replaced my car by New Year's Day. And so I'm like, I slept in because, obviously I'd been, doing stuff the night before and, had a luncheon with family and then got together with some friends in the afternoon. And then that evening I was thinking to myself, well, I should go out and get a cache. I've got several hours, no big deal.
Yep.
Well, the next day I was supposed to go on a trip to Corpus Christi. And I was going with a friend of mine. We were going to go down together. And so he calls me at about 8:30 to say, "Oh, wait a minute. Something has happened in my life. I can't go tomorrow."
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, this really sucks. But maybe if I could go make arrangements to rent a car now,
right,
I could maybe, go get a car, grab a cache right afterward for today, and then I could drive down to Corpus the next day.
Be ready for tomorrow, right?
Exactly. So, I rejigger my plans. I go jump on a bus. I take it out to the only car rental place that's open out at the airport.
Yep.
I get to the airport. I've made arrangements for the rental and all that bit. And then they say, "Well, wait a minute. Okay, when's your return flight?" Like I'm from here. I'm not flying anywhere.
You should have told them.
Yeah. Oh, and so they tell me, "Well, if you don't have a return flight, we can't rent a car to you because that's not our policy." I'm like, "Well, that really sucks because I already made the arrangements." It's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." And I check out the other car rental places and, they're like, "Yeah, we have the same policy because, we're at the airport."
Right.
Except for the one, there's a local place, but they require a $400 deposit. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have $400 just sitting around that I can leave sitting around for you guys." So,
of course,
the best of days. That's not happening.
Right. Check your back pocket. Yeah, I got $400.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'll just, head home. Maybe I can it's late, but I can grab a bus back. No big deal. Yep. Then I realize, wait a minute, it's New Year's Day, which means it's a holiday, which means that the buses don't run like normal. And it's like, oh yeah, guess what? I took the last bus to the airport.
Oh no. I know.
And there are no others. So I'm like, okay, well, it's 11:15 or so. I don't have a cache yet for the day. even if I get a cab, it's going to be like, really difficult. I don't know quite what I'm going to do. But as fate would have it, months before, I had been in Fredericksburg. In fact, in county number 6.
Yep.
Gillespie County. And I signed a challenge for finding 500 traditionals. And I had accomplished it like a couple weeks before, but I hadn't, logged it yet. And then I realized, wait a minute, I've got this ace in the hole.
I can log it now.
Streak alive, claimed.
Log it.
Boy, did that save my bacon.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, I've gone down to San Antonio a couple of times and picked up a whole bunch of challenges because I've got like a good handful that I have accomplished, a good handful that I haven't accomplished yet, but those are my aces in the hole. And so, and I spent one on like a really bad stormy day, and I wasted one on the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. Well, that's great though. And then, hey, there you go, Jesse. There's another reason why challenge caches are great.
Oh yeah, challenges are great for that.
Oh
absolutely, because streaks are made by the devil. They're terrible. Streaks are the worst thing. I'm glad I did mine, and it's over.
Jesse's not a streak guy, but do you feel like? Well, let me ask you this, because this is always a good question. In fact, this is going to come up in a couple of weeks. We're going to have drives. David Reeves is going to be on the show. I'm not going to tell you, Marcellus, how long his cache streak was, because
insane.
It's insane. He's still 7th in the world.
Jeez.
But have you thought about how far you want to take your streak? Do you want to wait? Do you want to stop at 366 or 365, or do you have an end in mind?
I don't have an end in mind.
Okay.
There's at least I'm working on obviously a 365, and I've signed a 500-day streak.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so if I make it that long, I'm totally okay with that.
If at least get to 366. There's a bunch of those challenges out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. And plus,
you totally do that.
Yeah, you could fill in your you fill in your grid and different things, but him and Zach,
just a glutton for punishment. There's no point after that. Just call it quits.
But it's cool. What's amazing is you kind of decide to do this really early on. I don't think a lot of people who started geocaching really have.
That's the best time to start it, when you haven't.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is. So
I'm not gonna lie. If I was starting from like now, I don't think I would have accomplished it. Like even remote, I would accomplish it even remotely.
It gets a lot harder the further you get into geocaching.
Yeah. Beside the fact that once you've like taken like everything around you for like 15, 20 miles. And then you're like, to even find a new geocache, you have to like, drive like, an hour. Yeah, no, there's no way you can do a streak.
So, all right, and we're kind of getting to the end of the show for tonight, but I do want to mention or ask you about as you do this county challenge, something else you're doing to make it even harder, I think it's harder, is you're going to the county courthouses and then finding caches. Is that correct? Is that a good way to put that?
That is very correct. Cool. And
taking some cool photos, by the way, too. I just want to point that out. Your photos are great. So
thank you. The big reason I'm doing that is because for years I've always thought it would be really cool to visit every county courthouse.
Right.
So I figure if I'm going to be there, why not just go ahead and do this while I'm there?
Sure.
And I've realized how this is kind of slowing me down, because, it would be awesome to just be able to like, I'm going to just drive to like, 15 or 20 counties in a day. And I don't care about the state of whatever. I'll just find a cache and go, and pretty much go until, I just feel too tired to do it.
Right.
Now I actually have to care about things like light and time and things like that. And, that gets, basically I have to budget like half an hour for every county because I've got to stop at the, stop and photograph the courthouse. And then I got to find a cache. If I'm lucky, the 2 will go really quickly. I'm looking at, several places where there's like one right on the courthouse, thank you, Belton.
Yeah, right.
Others are a little harder. I'm looking at you, Menard, where it's like, okay, now I found the courthouse and I can't get any cell connectivity and I can't find my way to a cache. So now I have to go find somewhere where I can go find a cache, then go find the cache. And so lists are your friend.
Oh boy, ain't that the truth?
Oh
yeah.
Well,
so we're running long, but we really haven't. And I'm curious to hear about this because people know my background. I'm in law enforcement, and I want to hear kind of some of your law enforcement encounters because it sounds like you've had a few now, 7 on that early vlog. So more than I'm assuming.
Wrap up with that one.
The chat room's kind of been talking about it all night. Some people have had a couple. Some people have had 10 in their first year. Some people, I guess, it depends on where everybody is. And Scott, who's on another podcast show, he's been on a couple of podcast shows, absolutely. But he's talked about an encounter. One of his funniest ones is he was coming out of a ditch and he met the barrel of a gun from law enforcement on the other end of it. And I haven't had anything that extreme yet, but I've been on both sides of it. So I want to make sure we get you to tell stories too that you've had so far.
Oh yeah. I am lucky in that Austin is a pretty liberal town. And so I haven't had anything really bad happen. But that being said, I have, the worst one with law enforcement. One time I was, looking for a cache and it was back behind a building and I found the cache and it's like, okay, I've got it. And then I hear right over my shoulder, you stop, stop pissing. And like, I'm not pissing.
Right.
I'm geocaching. And what are you doing over there? It's like, I'm not doing it. Please, I'm not like, being naked in public. I'm not drunk. There's nothing PIs or anything like that. Just like, I'm just geocaching. It's like, and then of course I give them the explanation and then they're like, oh, well, and it's always, and half the time it's like, oh, that sounds interesting. Well, okay, go on your way. And these guys are like, something's going on. I know something's going on.
He pulled the geocaching card on us.
You've got your story's a little too good. There's something going on. Like, no, really. Like, I didn't do anything. I promise. So, luckily, I guess at this point, actual law enforcement, I believe I am at 11 at this point, but that's actual law enforcement. Security guards or anything like that. I don't even count them.
No, I don't count them. I try not to be mean to security guards because I understand they drive around with a little yellow bubble and stay in the mall parking lot. But
they're just doing this job.
Right.
They see something weird. It's like, it's their job to look out for it. I've been a bouncer, so I've been in a position where I've had to be responsible for a particular area. And there's crazy stuff going on, but it's not like anything. So I get what they're doing, but it's still minorly annoying because I'm really just this guy who's just doing this thing.
So have you had encounters when your girls are with you or just when you're by yourself?
Just when I'm by myself.
Yeah, that's because I suspected.
Because if my daughters are with me, I would not even get close to anything. It's like, oh, there's a cache right over there, but there's a cop car over there. Okay, we're just going to go past that. We're going to go do something else because I do not want to get them involved in this in any way, shape, or form.
But,
that's funny. I've seen it on both sides too. So I've had LEO encounters, but mainly I do a lot more outside of the city caching. So there's not a lot of cops stopping you on the trails in the mountains, right?
True.
But But I've been on the other side of that too. So I've in that unique position where I've got to be a cop, and I'm retired now, but while I was a geocacher.
Okay.
So one of the most fun ones was when I knew, and I was just riding around in a patrol car, and I knew a brand new cache had come out, so I knew people were going to be rushing to an area, so I went and parked there.
He's staking out a geocache. I know I can't.
I was just messing with them, and then I would like back up and park over 50 feet away, and you could see them. They'd be like, "Ah, man, I don't know." They look, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd pull up, and then I'd end up knowing. I'm like, "Go ahead, man. I'm just messing with you."
I got to do that with my power, but I'm totally going to mess with you with my power.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, this is absolutely fine. Hey, what are you doing?" But I never other than the bomb squad calls. We had some of those.
Yeah,
we rarely ever had one that was like a suspicious person call, or like somebody called in on it or whatever. It was just like, hey, there's some dude standing in the alley. That those always happen, but
yeah,
I didn't see those as many. But we also had like people high up in the police department in the area where I was that knew about it. Right, the bomb squad all knew about it. Everybody knew about it in our area, but it's pretty it's pretty popular in Colorado too. So that's interesting to hear the different sides of the LEO encounters.
Yeah.
And I don't count security guards. They don't count. But.
Yeah. I mean, not saying anything derogatory about security guards, but there's only so much you guys can do, and I know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So any of them that really took it further, like trying to get your ID and all that other stuff, and didn't believe you for a long time, or is that probably the worst one you had?
Luckily, that is the worst one I've had. My fear is that my biggest fear has been that I'm going to be in some little town somewhere in the middle of nowhere and get stopped by a cop or something like that. And, just what am I going to do? Because this is, some podunk town with 300 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the sheriff is bored and has got nothing better to do. I'm obviously not from around here. This is not my thing because I'm a city boy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So that is my huge fear. Again, Menard, I'm looking at you. I almost had like a little, I was, no, not Menard. I take that back. Mason. I almost had an anxiety attack. And I don't do that kind of thing, but the sun's getting low and I'm trying to find a cache and I can't find this cache and I can't find that cache. And then I find someone who is, doing a metal detecting thing, but he's really doing it for like county employees. So I can't really go for this cache over here. So there I am in the middle of nowhere looking for some micro in a tree at like 8 o'clock at night in some tiny little town that I don't know. And I'm just like, I don't want to come back here. I need something bad.
Yeah, so that's probably good advice for anybody though. Don't be in areas that you don't. If it's different if it's in your own town or in an area that's desolate or whatever. But we've had, I was actually part of a group that hit a big GeoArt out here in Colorado.
Okay.
And we found out that some of the farmers considered those public roads part of their private property and had people pull guns pulled on them and stuff.
Ooh.
And we archived that big GeoArt, even though we had the legal right to do it.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get anybody shot over geocaching.
No.
Yeah, no.
But,
I
worry about that too. For our audio listeners, I'm a white guy. But just clear that out real quick. But
exactly.
I'm armed sometimes. And I don't want to be in some little small town and have a disagreement with a deputy that's bored and patrolling late at night. I don't need that.
No.
So I've got an item, Marcellus. I'm gonna put it in my pocket. When I see it's Seguin, I'm gonna give this to you, brother. It is the FTF geocaching license.
The official license. There you go.
License to geocache, and on the back of it,
it even tells
people you carry this with you. It's a geocaching license. It hereby certifies you that even though you may seem erratic in your behavior, my seemingly erratic behavior is due solely to my participation in a harmless high-tech treasure hunt. I am in no way impaired, deranged, or a danger to society or myself. While geocachers know all the best places to hide a body, I'm not actively in the process of doing so now. So
no, Marcellus, I'm going to advise you not to pull that card out. Nothing that says about hiding a body. Don't pull that out. I'm going to tell you.
Yes.
Please don't do that. I still want you to last.
If I'm going to
hide, meet you in Geo Woodstock.
If I am going to hide a body, I am not going to tell anybody that I know where to hide a body.
Right. But
that's like body hiding 101.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to keep that secret if you hide a body.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. And
I've never hidden one, but
probably if you have a Leo encounter, you probably don't want to be reaching for something like in your pockets or anything. Sir, keep your hands up. Do not put your hands down.
Oh, no. The hands are on the steering wheel. If I'm reaching for something, I'm reaching for my wallet. I'm moving slowly.
Very slowly.
Yes. I'm only getting my wallet so I can pull out my ID.
Yes, right.
I know you want it.
Somebody in the chat room is from Canada and said it's really different up there, obviously. And I'd really like to hear some feedback after this show. Hopefully we have, video and audio listeners or whatever. I'd like to hear, because this is an international show, right? There's a lot of
absolutely
not just as many, but we have many, many people that are not in the United States. Listen to this show. I'd like to hear some kind of feedback after this of what encounters are like in other countries too. So
where would you hear that from? Where do you want them to send you?
Maybe they can send it to geocachetalk@gmail.com.
Perfect.
That would be a good idea. But seriously, we have a lot of international listeners and people from different states, every state. But I'd like to hear different stories, especially anybody that's, not the majority in their area or that stands out or that's, anything. Please let us know. I'd really like to hear perspectives from everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Well, final thoughts. Jesse, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Marcellus. So,
well, I was really kind of excited to hear this. And are you going to be at Geo Woodstock?
I'm hoping to be.
Sweet. So I'll get to meet you down there, hopefully.
Heck yeah.
It's interesting to hear different perspectives. So, and a lot of the times it's been people from other countries, but now people from other races and stuff like that. And, it's, again, I kind of forget because Denver's pretty laid back and open and accepting of everybody. And, there's people I can't think of anybody from any walk of life that's not a cacher up here, different types of people everywhere up here. So,
you were caching recently with.
I think it's good to hear different perspectives so people forget, right? You get in your own little world, and a lot of it's solitary. Some people don't even go to events, so they only cache by themselves, and you forget that people have other perspectives on the game. So,
weren't you caching with somebody from
I'm glad you came on the show, and I like your blog, and it's
Jesse.
It's funny because I've been in podcasting for a little bit now. We've been doing it for a little while now, and I've been on other shows. Yours is one of the few that I have like whatever the RSS feed is. So when it emails you when the new thing comes out, the new blog comes out. And I still like seeing it because you're like, I'm about to be on the show. And it says, oh, I'm like, I got an email about Geocache Talk. Somebody's going to be on there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it's one of the best things. Me and Gary have always said this. One of the best things about geocaching for us is getting to meet so many different people. Yeah, and people from different backgrounds and countries and everything. So this is another example of that. But so thank you for coming on the show on something that could be uncomfortable, but
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I should be thanking you guys.
I hope you keep up your blog. That is so valuable for you to start that when you're very first starting the game. That you're going to love that going forward. So,
well,
thank
Jesse,
you again for coming on the show.
Didn't you? Weren't you lately? You've been geocaching for somebody from India. Haven't you been lately?
Yeah, a buddy of mine had a friend of his from India come in, and we got to do a little caching. And of course, it ended up we did more talking than caching most of the time. But we go around and and we go to caches that we've been, when you take somebody out that's visiting the area, you end up going to the same place you've already been. So you'll be out to like 15 caches. Only one of them is one you haven't found because you want to show them all the cool caches while they're in the area.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's very different in different regions of the of the world.
Unique.
So
Yeah.
it's great. Getting to talk to people from everywhere, from India to South Africa to Ireland to all kinds of places that you'd never get to meet any other way. So
yeah,
totally.
Other than geocaching. Yep. So Marcellus, we'll let you have some final thoughts as well, sir.
Well, I really have two final thoughts. Number one, if you don't mind, I would like to give a shout out to a couple of caching friends who are watching this.
Go for it.
Carrot Killer and Lady Black Cat. I know you guys are watching, so hua to you guys.
Yep.
But the other thought is what I really want more than anything is I want someone to start geocaching while Hispanic.
Oh, there you go.
Because
Perfect.
I would read the crap out of that.
There you go. Perfect.
That's true. That could be that could definitely be achieved even within our local group here.
Oh, totally. I'm just waiting for someone to do it.
Yeah.
So when you do it, come shoot me an email. Let me know, because I will totally, I will plaster that thing all over the site.
That's good.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because be careful what you mention on this show, because it happens.
It'll happen.
So,
and the other, actually, I guess I do have one last thought.
Sure.
I actually want to thank you guys.
Oh,
because the simple fact that anybody is even thinking about this issue at all means a lot.
Oh, good.
It's a huge deal. And so I want to thank you guys for that.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Very cool.
Yeah. And we thank you so much for coming on. And I get to see and hang out with you a little bit in Seguin. Again, we hope you come to Fort Worth and do some counties on your run up to Fort Worth and run back to Austin and all that. But yeah, it meant a lot to Jesse and I. We've wanted to do a topic like this, and I think it was you have done well. Shaw, but you are serving our community very well, and it means a lot to Jesse and I that you're doing that. You are holding up geocaching well, and we thank you for that, sir.
Hold on, I got one more final thought though, because I just happened to look at your profile and I noticed there's a little discrimination going on.
Okay.
There's no where it goes on your profile. That is not acceptable. Where I go caches either found or hidden on your profile, and we're gonna have to change that. That's not gonna. We can't let that stand.
There's a where I go right in front of the state capitol, and I haven't decided if I'm actually gonna delve into where I goes.
You will eventually,
but I haven't decided. I don't know.
That's for another show.
No, we're gonna have to have a chat about that.
I barely even fiddle with multis. I mean, I do them, but I barely even fiddle with them. So,
but you got to at least get one. You got to get the icon.
You got to fill your icons out. You got to get all those.
You got to get every icon.
I guess.
At least do one.
That's good.
And then if you want to hide one, I happen to know a guy that can help you out with that. So.
Jesse can help you hide one for sure.
Okay. So. I will consider. I will probably end up doing it.
You gotta do it.
I will definitely consider it. I promise.
Yeah, you could do it. You could also do a whole icon run at Geo Woodstock, but that's for another show, and we need to wrap up for tonight.
Oh yeah, we got to wrap it up. We're way over.
Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Definitely for a couple of different reasons. One is from Jesse mentioning he wants some feedback. We also want to hear about your comments about what'd you call it at the start of the show? Is the haunted virtual graveyard?
I don't know what to call it. We need a name for it, but geocaching online profiles are becoming a virtual graveyard.
Zombie caching. There you go.
Zombie caches.
Yeah. Zombie caches. Is that not taken for something else?
Zombie caches.
I don't think
that's
so.
Not. We called it on the show. Zombie caches. That's awesome.
Perfect. That's it. It's from now on. That's what it is. So
I hope that's not already taken, meaning something else. We need to look that one up. That's
we do probably.
I've used it to talk about caches that like obviously aren't cared for, and somebody is just constantly. People are refreshing the logs every so often.
That's
but
exactly
it's obvious that nobody has been really taking care of this forever.
There you go.
Okay,
Marcellus named it.
I'm loving it.
And it's done and done. So email us about those zombie caches out there. Don't forget to follow us on follow Geocache Talk on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is facebook.com/Geocache Talk. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. I'm a big fan of Spotify, as well as the Geocache Talk website, geocachetalk.com. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button below and ring that bell down there so you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis, and tell your friends about the show and get them involved in the awesome chat room. I know the chat room was rocking again tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate everybody's involvement in that, and we do thank you so much. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Do what Marcellus does so far every day in the past 200, and he's going to go on for a while now, but
do it.
Do it. That's a good voice. Do it. Do what Marcellus does and go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
All right.